Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Pri, and on this channel I get to talk about different issues about life, actually about my life in Switzerland and also in Kenya. So I talk about different things, and today's video is actually very different from the previous videos I've posted. Uh, I last posted 7 months ago, and why I haven't posted anything else is really the reason for today's video. Um, so I don't know how to start. I don't know what to say, but it's a very sad story, and I have been talking about it with some colleagues online, and today I felt like I just need to share it. I needed to share this story because people say it's through sharing that people get to heal, and it's also through sharing that people get to get through with difficult situations. So my situation is so that sometimes only May, my mom passed on. She passed away in circumstances I couldn't really comprehend. My mom has been ill since 2018. I remember I wasn't home. I was miles away from home when she fell critically ill, and my siblings gave me a call and said, "Oh, mom is very sick and she's been admitted." And this was the very first time that my mom was getting admitted in the hospital. So I knew this was serious. Much as I was pretty far away, miles away from Kenya, I just searched for the next flight, and the next day I was really on a flight back home from Switzerland. Um, and I found my mother in a very critical situation. She was being treated um, outside of the hospital because she requested to be discharged actually before she got well. So she got discharged with a infusion, so she needed some antibiotics to be injected in her veins. Um, but then she was at home. So my siblings had been taking her daily back to the hospital to get injections and bring her back home. And so when I arrived, she got relieved because I could provide these injections myself. But it was, of course, very difficult to give my mom daily injections through the vein, and of course, I had to every time prick or break a new vein. And she being my mom, it was just a very difficult thing to do, to instill pain in the name of trying to cure her. But anyway, I gave her these medications for a period of 7 days. These were like third generation antibiotics, and she got well. She had been suffering from pneumonia. Actually, the main cause of that pneumonia was a heart disease that she had developed. Um, at the same time, so when I got home, she was getting treated for pneumonia, and the pneumonia got to go away, and she didn't get well, and so we took her back to the hospital for checkups, and they diagnosed her with a heart failure. Actually, her heart had failed on the right side, so she had a right-sided heart failure. Um, so because we live far away from the capital city in Kenya, a lot of good things are actually in the capital city, like the best hospitals and the biggest hospitals are found in the capital city. Yet we live in a in a village, I would say, like 600 kilometers west of Nairobi or west of the country. And so even to access high quality healthcare is a luxury, or is almost impossible. So I decided together with my siblings that um, we should take my mom to the capital city, to some hospital there where they would do the new evaluation of the heart disease or the heart failure and put her on the right medication. And indeed, they re-evaluated her um, and found some disparities between how she had been evaluated in the village and now. And so they did the correct diagnosis and put her on treatment. Um, the whole period of investigations, diagnosis, and until she was put on the right treatment, it took quite a while. It took about 2 weeks, and I was indeed for those 2 weeks in Kenya, and I ensured that she was put on the right treatment, and she returned home to the village as I returned back to Switzerland. Then I was studying. I was really at a very critical stage of my studies in Switzerland, so I didn't even go to the village together with her um, to ensure that she settled in. But luckily, I have my siblings who are always there, who were always with her, and I trusted that they would do that, that they would bring her back home and they would be with her throughout her treatment, and indeed it was like that throughout her life journey. So that was in 2018. I came back to Switzerland, and I kept following up, like on weekly basis. I could always speak with her and with my siblings to see where she stood, how she was coming on with the treatment, and how she was coping with her disease. And indeed, my mom did very well. And two of my siblings were really, really supportive of her. They were always there with her, always, always with her. And one of my siblings actually literally lived in the same house with her and did literally everything for my mom, right from managing her treatment and literally like sorting out her medications, um, organizing them in a way that she can take them accordingly, because she had to take so much medications. Like on daily basis she had like over 10 pills to take. And so this sister of mine who lived with my mom in the same house and did everything for her also managed these treatments. So like every morning she would um, remove from the blisters all the medications that my mom needed to take and ensure that she took. At lunch she did the same, and in the evening as well, including sending her back to the capital city, which is like 600 kilometers away from the village, on monthly basis for doctor's appointments. And she did that since 2018, since my mom was diagnosed and put on treatment until her passing. Um, so this sister of mine really like gave up her own life just to take care of my mom. I have to say that because I was away, we were complementing each other or one another with two of my siblings. Like so, one lived with my mom in the house and literally did everything and managed her hospital appointments as well as her medications, and the other one checked on my mom like every other day, and organized my other siblings to be able to offer support to my mom, be it financially or socially or whatever kind of support that there was. So one of my siblings organized that, and I actually gave the biggest financial support, um, since I wasn't able to be on the ground with them. And I felt comfortable doing that because luckily I was working, and I had some money saved, and I could really support my mom on that. So she didn't miss any doctor's appointments or even her medication. So we ensured that there was enough finances for her medications as well as for her doctor's visits. Um, so it went on so well until COVID came, and actually my mom survived that wave of COVID. So when COVID came, I became extremely worried about her, and I just went into an emergency mode. I was still in Switzerland, and I just really was standby to go back home any moment, at any moment, where if my mom got COVID. And until 2021, sometimes in 2021 in December, she got COVID, despite the fact that she had been vaccinated, and it was bad. How I discovered that is I always spoke to my mom like twice weekly, or at minimum once weekly. So on this particular day in 2021 December, when I spoke to her, she didn't sound well, and I knew from her voice that no, something was wrong. So I called my sisters and asked them what was going on, and they told me how my mom was looking like and the symptoms that she had, and I knew very well that she had COVID. And I remember instructing my sisters, two of my sisters, on phone in Switzerland, and they are at home with my mom, and just instructing them in the mix of crying. I was crying because I was thinking, oh my gosh, um, it's just maybe it's just a matter of minutes, and my mom would die before I reach home to be with her. Because as you remember, during COVID, so many people died, and especially old people. Um, so there was no reason not to think that my mom would die, and I couldn't deal with the fact that she might die without me being there. So I was just crying and instructing my sisters, please call a taxi, please put my mom in a taxi, make sure that she's comfortable, ensure that there's some oxygen, whatever you may do to find it. And probably it's not even nice to put her in the taxi, please find an ambulance, and I'm gonna send you the money right away. And indeed I had money on my mobile wallet, and so I sent my sister's money to just find the fastest means possible to get my mom to the hostel. And as we are so far away from the capital city, and as there are not many high quality hostels around, they had to take my mom to the next big city. That city is called Kisumu. It's like if you're driving at 80 kilometers per hour, it would take you something like 2.5 hours to arrive there. But they did manage, and arrived with my mom in that hospital. And my mom got very, very, very quickly diagnosed and treated. The biggest challenge with that hospital was that they had said, "Oh, we can't put your mom in the ward without you giving us 300,000 Kenya shillings. Then it will be something like 3,000 Swiss francs." And I was like, "Hey, what?" My mom has some kind of insurance that should cover bed charges when if she would be admitted. But that hospital said, no, no, we're not accepting that card. We don't accept those insurance policies. You needed to give us cash. And I remember my siblings giving me a phone to speak to somebody. I think it was the nursing in charge of the hospital that night. And I said, please, please, please treat my mom, and I'm gonna organize for that money tomorrow. Come tomorrow, my sisters actually told me, oh, my mom is improving, and since we know that the main problem now is COVID, and she has been diagnosed, she's been put on treatment, why can't we then return her to a cheaper hospital back to our town? Our town, I mean the town next to our village, and so we all agreed that yeah, that was good, and my mom agreed too. And so they put her in the ambulance and brought her back. So we managed to escape the 3,000 Swiss francs as admission fee, but we paid something like 1,800 Swiss francs just to have her diagnosed and put on initial treatment. And then she was taken back to this hostel in our in our town, where we didn't incur as much expense as we would have incurred in that hostel in Kisumu City. So my mom got treated for like 10 days as inpatient, and she got well. So she survived that wave of COVID in 2021. So my mom got completely well and was discharged and went home. And because I was speaking to them like 3 times a day, and my mom was reassuring me, no, I'll be fine, don't worry. And my sisters also saw how fast she was improving. And so they told me, no, you don't need to come if you're too busy. Our mom would be well and will be discharged soon. And so after 10 days, she got discharged, and she went about her life very well, very normally. Then she got really well. She went on having her monthly doctor's appointments in Nairobi, and she was always on her treatment, and she took the treatment so well. By 2022, she had known how to take the medicines herself, and so my sister did not have to really like micromanage the medications. My mom she knew which medication she would take in the morning, which ones at lunch, and which ones in the evening. And my sister just checked to ensure that the medicines were correctly placed and available for her to take. So, starting in 2022, my sister started reducing her time for one on one care with my mom, or one on one care for my mom, and started to go to work herself, like to fend for herself. So, she would prepare my mom in the morning, make sure that she had breakfast, and she has had her medications, and then she would go to work. Actually, so she would prepare breakfast and ensure that my mom has had breakfast, has had her medications. Then she would prepare lunch and keep it warm somewhere, somehow warm, and then go to work, and then she would return in the evening early enough to cook dinner. So my mom didn't do so much because anyway she couldn't. So if I may go back again a little bit, in December 2021, I was really, really struggling with something in my life, and I was just happy that I didn't have to go home, and I was also very grateful that my mom got well and reassured me that she'll be well and that I didn't have to go. Um, in 2022, in January, that's when I had really planned to find an air ticket and go home by the end of January. I realized that something very significant, a life changing situation in my own life happened, and so I couldn't go home. And I remember taking the phone and calling my mom and saying, "Hey, mom, I know that I promised that I would be coming by end of January. What do you think? This is happening to me. What do you think we should do?" Oh, my mom said, "No, no, 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 my daughter. I'm so, so, so happy for you, and please do not come. Do not come at all. We will see each other much later when this is over." And she was so, so happy. She was so high spirited. And I remember from then on, we talked really so frequently. And she, each time she kept telling me, "No, this will be over and you will come back home. You would come home to see me, and we'll see each other. So don't worry. At the moment, take time for yourself and go through that." And so I didn't go home. And At some point, this was over, and then we started to plan when I should go home. I remember my mom telling me um, that I should really go home in March of 2023. But then something was happening that wouldn't allow that, and we actually spoke or consulted some doctors who told us that no, it it wouldn't be a good idea to go now. Please wait until sometimes in June or something like that. Then I told my mom, and we planned that I should go home in September of 2023, a few months ago actually. Little did I know that if I went in March 2023, that I'll be able to say goodbye to her, or I'll be able to see her physically before departing or before she died. But I didn't go, and we had been planning that I go in September. She had been planning a lot for us to meet us in September, but this was not going to happen. Um, I remember um, sometimes, I think it was sometimes in March, I went jogging. I went out jogging, and as I was jogging right deep in the forest, something came to my mind. It's like a song that came to my mind. And that song goes like, I don't know how to sing, but the song talks about, how do I say goodbye? How do I say goodbye? Something like that. So I remember listening to that song over and over and crying in the forest. And something told me, this is a song you should play when your mom dies. And yeah, I remember I cried in the forest. I stopped, I cried in the forest, but then I went on jogging. I didn't reflect, I didn't think what it was or what this was telling me. Then I forgot about it, and sometimes in May, I remember it was on the 11th of May. I woke up so badly. I had some conflicts at home with the people I live with. Um, and I remember being so sad. It was a working day, and I continued working, really, really feeling sad because of this conflict at home, and just around. So during this week, I had been calling home like every day because something was happening. I had a feeling that my mom wasn't sounding the way she usually sounds, and I had been calling almost every day, telling my sister, "What's happening? Why is my mom talking like that?" You know, she would talk to me in a way that I couldn't relate. Like sometimes she would say something, um, and then I realized, no, we haven't talked about this thing. So this is something new, and you just telling me like that. Tell me about it. What happened? And then she would stop and say something else. And I got so worried. I kept calling my sisters and asking, hey, what's happening with mom? I have a feeling that mom isn't talking um, in the way that she used to. Is there something happening? Is she sick? What's happening? Tell me. And my sisters were saying, she hasn't been sleeping well. You know, she's well during the day, and at night she really struggles breathing. She has nightmares, she's sweating, and she just doesn't sleep anywhere from midnight until morning. She really doesn't sleep, and I kept telling, please take her back to hospital, let them check her properly. Once you're in the hospital, let me speak with the doctor and all that. And my sisters really took her like every day. They went back to hospital to tell the doctor, hey, look, it isn't working, something must be wrong. This is what's happening. At some point the doctor said, the room in which your mom is sleeping doesn't have good ventilation, um, and it's quite cold. Could you buy a heater and ensure that windows are open throughout the night? And so my sisters did that, and one of my sisters was literally sleeping with my mom in her bed, to ensure that the heater was on, and part of the window was open. You know, the window couldn't be open the whole night, then there was no point of having the heater. So she could open the window to bring in fresh air and then close it again. And so, and it was just like that. And then, like 3 days to her passing, I remember telling my sister, please take her to back to the doctor. Tell the doctor to admit her and observe her at night and see what's happening at night, what her problems are at night. And so they did that. And I remember telling my mom, uh, please go to the doctor. And if the doctor tells you to get admitted, please don't refuse. My mom is old, and of course she didn't understand so much why she should stay in the hostel, and I think she always just felt more comfortable to be at home. So I begged her to accept to be admitted, and indeed they went. And uh no, 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 they went, but the doctor said, no, no, she's doing well, I would rather you go back home. So they went back home, and of course she didn't sleep well. And then the next day, um, she was really not well. She had been vomiting. She had some problems with the stomach. She couldn't really empty her bowels well, and for her that was really, really abnormal. And so we thought, well, she's vomiting. She has a swollen tummy, and she was feeling really dizzy, and we thought, no, she has to go to the hospital. And I remember my sister told me, I called home, and my sister was really preparing her, and She had prepared her and she was waiting for a taxi, or rather, she was waiting for my other sister to come and pick my mom, um, using her car to take her to the hostel. So I spoke to them right before they went to the hostel, and as soon as they reached the hostel, I spoke to them again. Um, and this was about lunch, about, so something like 2 o'clock Swiss time. It must have been at 3 o'clock in Kenya. Then I remember eating something quickly, um, and then switching off my phone because I thought, no, 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 it was around 2 o'clock, and I called them and they told me they were in the hostel and they were waiting for the doctor to see my mom. I called back later at around 5, just before I had dinner, and I spoke to my mom, and she sounded well. She spoke well, and she told me, "I'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm now in the hostel. I've been admitted. I'll be fine. Don't worry at all." And she told me, "Oh, they are giving me some medications. I have some infusions, and so some medicines that go through the vein." Then I thought, wow, so I'm so happy she's in the hostel, she's in the safe hands. So I would eat dinner and then call back later. And I remember while I was eating dinner, I was planning to do a video call afterwards, to see her in the hostel, and she also needed to see us. And so after eating, I felt so bad. I felt really weak and just bad, and just felt bad. I wasn't ill, but I just felt bad. So I switched off my phone and went to nap. Imagine, I never nap at 5 or after 5, but this day I went to nap. After like 30 minutes, I got up, and somehow I was just worried. For no reason, I was really worried. And then I switch on the phone and I see a missed call from one of my sisters. And then immediately a WhatsApp message comes on my screen, and it says, "Mama ametuwacha." That is in Kiswahili. So in English, "Mom has left us." I remember just falling down, collapsing. Couldn't believe it. I was so furious. I was so annoyed. I was so super annoyed. I got so annoyed. First, how could she go without saying goodbye to me? How could she go? Yet we had big plans. How could she go? Yet I haven't seen her. How could she go when she had so many plans for us in September? I felt bitter. I felt annoyed. I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't believe it. I don't know what happened then thereafter. Mm, um, then I started. I remember in the middle of the night, I started organizing my trip back home, and then I realized some of I realized that my baby um, didn't have a passport, and so we started organizing that she gets a passport, because she was too young. She was only like 7 months old, or yeah, 7 months old. And so Um, I was also quite devastated about traveling, having to travel with such a small baby. Um, we had never thought about her travel documents, and I don't know for what reason we didn't think about that. And so we started to think about getting her a passport and just arranging the trip. And I knew that this trip would be not a short trip, so I needed to think about a lot of stuff. And what was running across my mind was like, um, I have lost a mom, I've lost a friend, I've lost an advisor. What else is there in this life? What else? I would just, I would go to Kenya and stay in Kenya, stay home, because why should I leave anymore? These were the kind of thoughts that were on my mind. I didn't see any meaning in anything. I didn't see any meaning in my job, in my life, in it, nothing. I didn't see anything. I just thought, okay, I would go to Kenya, see my mom, bury my mom, and stay there because what else? What else in this life? What else? And I remember feeling so bitter, like I never ever thought that my mom was mortal. Never. It had never occurred to me that she might die. And she dies all of a sudden. I loved her so much. I love her so much. And I didn't realize how much I loved her until I got the news of her death. Uh, I have never really felt pain in life. That pain is the real pain. And I remember having been so bitter about the fact that she died, even to an extent of feeling really bad when people talked about their mothers. Um, to to date, I now know that nothing lasts forever. Um, so it was hard. It was hard. We planned the visit to Kenya, of course, to bury my mom. And when we told the passport officials here in Switzerland that we needed my baby's passport in order to travel to Kenya because of the death of my mom, they told us, oh well, it usually takes like, I don't know if they said 2 weeks. I can't remember. Maybe I'm saying something wrong. I can't remember, but they told us it usually takes long. But in that case, we will do our best to ensure that you get it as soon as possible. And you can't imagine, the passport was ready in just 2 days. This was amazing. This was really amazing. Um, my life here in Switzerland, I continued to have a conflict, actually, a social conflict in my home. Um, at the same time, I was dealing with the loss of my mom, and at the same time, had to deal with the fact that I needed to travel or to take that long journey, long, um, sad journey to Kenya with such a small baby of 7 months. In Kenya, my area where we live is actually a malaria region, and so I was also quite afraid about my baby catching malaria. Okay, I didn't care about myself because I've had malaria like thousands of times in my life, but I cared about this young baby who might get malaria in that mix or in that whole situation. So I had a lot of fears about the trip. I was I was grieving a mom, a friend, an advisor, and everything. My life. My mom was everything in my life, and yet I had to deal with the conflict here at home. It was too much. It was too much, but I am grateful that I went through all that. And so we went to Kenya, me and my family. I met my family and we put my mom to rest. The whole thing, the whole situation of the funeral and the burial and everything that happened thereafter is another story. It wasn't so easy, and this will be, I think I will do a video. My next video will be about that because it was such a sad, um, a sad story. We were grieving my mom, but it wasn't so easy within the family to deal with all the issues, especially issues to do with property. It was so hard. But anyway, that's a video for next time.